Good evening, ladies and gents. My name is Helzo, the bearded Balkan blabbermouth, and I'm DiscussThing. Today, I have a very interesting story, which is sort of a continuation of a topic that I have been covering for quite a while now, ever since I restarted my channel actually. If you have been with me for the past few months, you know that I have talked about a lot about Ubisoft and their almost inevitable crash. We've covered this, I think, in the mid of November for the last time, bringing light to how their stock are crashing, how Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed, and how it's not looking very good for the company, especially with a potential Tencent buyout, as I covered in one of my last videos. Now we have another report from that Park Place who brought us some numbers, and I just want to look over the article with you so you have a better idea of what I'm talking about. And here's the title. Ubisoft value tanks, market cap dropped 85% from 2021 to 2025. And we immediately go to the explanation. Once a titan in the gaming industry, Ubisoft has experienced a dramatic and concerning decline in value over the past 4 years. From a market capitalization of 12.17 billion in January 2021, the company's value plummeted to a mere 1.78 billion by January 2025. And we have some information about how the progression was made, and I actually can show you, because this is the 5-year graph that we're seeing here of when you type Ubisoft stocks Google, you can see that from January 2021 this was 82.4 and it dropped to what we see here, 12.66. Now I know that here it says 79.71, but this is because the graph shows a little bit further from their highest point, which is 2021. And that's a little bit of a lower number, but if you can see, this is the 85.18 and it drops down to what we're seeing here. And I actually want to show something else, because a lot of people are going to probably research this. If you click on the max, you can see that Ubisoft actually has had a lot of these semi-crashes in the past. They have had 31.99 euro top market cap in 2008, and then it dropped to very nearly the absolute minimum 4.03 euros, and it stayed on that level for maybe half a year, and then it started to climb. So this is not the first time that they're having a drop of sorts. However, what is significant about what we're seeing here is that if you see as the graph, you see that this is a 31.99 top, and when you go here, you see the very bigger 98.06 in 2018, which is the highest of all time. And when you go to the 5-year, showing you up to today, you see that even though it's dropping from a lower price, it still is a very steep decline, which is almost consistent throughout the years. Nothing has beaten even the 2021 graph in the last 5 years. So this is absolutely abhorrent for the company. And when we go back to the article, we see a lot of information regarding what their recent market caps were and what their recent stock prices were. They actually dropped to 11.69, and at one point I think they dropped below 10, which I was covering exactly at the time live, but I don't know the exact price. The article also states that a lot of its valuable assets like Rainbow Six Siege and Assassin's Creed franchise could be worth more separately than together. This is in talks if the company is being sold, or if the company is being bought out as a bulk, or separately, franchise by franchise, which is abhorrent because you're basically ripping a company piece by piece. And this is all due to their bad decisions. If we have to be honest, they have made a lot of bad decisions with their games. We have here some recap, especially for Skull and Bones, which was all around $650 and $850 million to develop as a price over a decade, which is an absolutely massive amount, and they have made none of those money. They also canceled X-Defiant, which is another game that they made for quite a bit of money, and they just canceled it without any sort of revenue from it, any sort of winnings. In addition, the article also states that the adoption of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, and woke agendas has alienated a portion of its core fanbase, which is absolutely true. If you remember when we were discussing the Assassin's Creed Shadows, we saw what's happening, the lies, the deceit, the attempts to basically rewrite history and basically angering an entire country, even involving their government in the process. What has happened, and it was caused by Ubisoft. They also didn't want to apologize for even stealing some assets like flags and marked flags from a real life reenactment group, and were only caught and apologized afterwards. These are all things that happened. They have pretty much would-be historians to vouch for what they were trying to present with Yasuke and with him being a samurai and whatever, when actual historical documents proved that that was not true. And they were basically disrespecting a lot of people, and especially when a lot of people were asking for pretty much a decade to have a samurai-based Assassin's Creed game, and they just botched that. They just absolutely completely botched that with the whole scenario, with the whole Yasuke being this amazing person. They inserted modern style music. They had him breaking property as a gameplay trailer, which was absolutely hilarious. So they did all the wrong steps in every possible way with promoting Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that's why it was delayed, because now they're trying to do some damage control and possibly fix a lot of things with the game. And that's why their stocks were consistently dropping. In every video that I have made for Assassin's Creed Shadows or for Ubisoft in the past few months, I have taken a look at their stocks, and they were consistently falling. And this is the case now. You see that basically when you see such a graph in the course of 5 years, you see that this is nothing short of a slow dying of a franchise and a company. This is not anything remotely good when you see. That's why there were reports of a buyout. That was why there are reports of the company going into bankruptcy and selling its assets. They have one chance here, one chance to come out on the top, and that is for Assassin's Creed Shadows to sell at least double all the production costs. They have to make a lot of money to be able to score a win, and to at the very least show their investors that they're still good at making games and still are able to make something entertainment and to have people very happy. The problem is that their first tasks would be to have a trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows that would actually please the fans and would not be disrespectful. And after their fiasco with the last trailer and what they were putting out before, they'll need to be very successful and need to do a complete 180, because people are on edge about this game, and people will see everything and will spot absolutely everything wrong if there is something wrong. Not to mention that there isn't a lot of time. Ubisoft has announced that the Assassin's Creed Shadows is coming out on Valentine's Day, and that pretty much puts them with a month and a half left. So they have to put out something very soon in order to get the hype train potentially going, which is also one thing that makes me think that they're probably not going to do anything like that, because they're afraid of even damaging the brand further. The article also explains about workforce mismanagement, having a lot of inexperienced internal workforce. I think this is linked to the DEI initiatives, because they were probably hiring based on ideology and on ticking boxes and not just matching the social cues instead of looking for actual talent, which to me is very weird, because when you're in a gaming company and when you work at a certain level at that gaming company, you need to have an appropriate actual either degree or experience in the field, and if you don't, you just don't get hired. So the whole thing with an inexperienced internal workforce should not be a thing to a gaming company that has hired people. The article also explains that this has inflated production costs and has led to inefficiency, which is to be expected when you have inexperienced staff that haven't been at the company for very long. They don't know how things work. They haven't been immersed in that company at all, which leads me to believe that Ubisoft is actually on its way to just crumble completely. And I think that we're gonna see after February 14th either them being bought out or them just selling their assets and filing for bankruptcy or whatever it is the company should do in situations like this. The only way they can surface from this, from all the financial losses, from everything bad that has happened with them in 2024, with X-Defiant, with Skull and Bones, with Assassin's Creed Shadows delay, with Star Wars Outlaws being a complete flop, they need this year Assassin's Creed Shadows to finally be released and to make an absolute bombastic entry in the franchise. And if it doesn't, which unless something happens that they do, like a pretty good trailer, like listening to the fans, like actually providing the fans with something very good, it's not going to happen. I don't see it. And I don't think that they're gonna backpedal from having Yasuke and having him as a samurai and just keeping to what they're doing. It just doesn't seem plausible to me. And the reality is that these are sad news because Ubisoft is indeed, or at least was, a titan in the gaming industry. It was one of the biggest companies. I personally have in the past, when those problems didn't exist, applied for Ubisoft to work there because there is a studio here in my city and I would have been happy to be a part of such a great gaming studio. But now there is just, I don't see how they're gonna continue to work at all. They're gonna have to close at least half of their studios and have to at the very least scale down to a point that was probably worse than when they were beginning in the first place, which is not a good thing. And I don't think they have any chance unless Assassin's Creed Shadows succeeds. And I think that it is going to have some sales. It is going to probably break even if they at least provide a decent gameplay, but I don't think it's going to be a bomb. I don't think they're gonna have a bombastic sales on the level of Black Myth Wukong, for instance. They have to seriously change the way they view things and realize that gamers are the ones who can save this company. And if they can do that, and if they do it in time, I think they might resurface, but otherwise I don't see it. Anyways, that's all I have for this video today. Tell me what you think. Do you think Ubisoft is doomed, or do you think there is a chance of them actually coming out on top? Tell me in the comments down below. If you enjoy my content, press the like and subscribe button, press the join button if you want to support directly and helping me grow even more. And if you enjoy helping homeless animals and animals in shelters, press the link in the description below to my Patreon page where I gather proceeds to helping homeless animals and animals in shelters. There are a lot of clips there showing you what we're doing, and 100% of the gathered money goes towards that cause. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Hills. This was DiscussThing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and stay fresh.